Hello everybody. Just so everybody knows, we're gonna be live in just a few moments. Say hello to everybody and welcome to another edition of the MetsXMFanZone live podcast, home of your everything New York Mets. If you guys enjoy our shows, please always tweet, like, and subscribe and to get more of your New York Mets news. You guys can share, like, and subscribe, and to get all of your Mets throughout the whole entire season, you guys can check MetsXMFanZone.com for all of the full live in-season Mets news, live streams, and more. My name is Anthony, and I'm your host here for today, where we're going to talk about some of your latest Mets, talk a little bit on some spring training. We got a couple of updates for you guys here in this live show today. We're going to be breaking down a couple of the Met players that have been here in camp already. We're going to talk a little bit on some pitching. We're going to talk a little bit on some hitting. And we're going to be breaking all of that down here in this live stream. But also, again, if you would like to enjoy the show, please tweet, like, subscribe, and tap on that screen. We are live on all of your social media platforms this evening. So, and plus, we will be taking some of your questions, of course, that will be in front of me, and we're going to break all of this down. I don't even know who this is. Can we find out what this is? I have not a clue what you're talking about there, pal. All right. Okay. So we're going to be breaking down some of your Mets here in this live stream. If you are joining us on all the social media platforms, we are going to be giving you guys for the next half an hour some of your Met highlights. We're going to be talking a little bit on some spring training updates too, as well. And we're going to go into a little bit on some of the website. I know a lot of people have been asking a lot of questions about it. So, how to get into it, how to, subscribe and whatnot. We'll touch a little bit later up here on the live stream. Okay, I got what you're talking about. I mean, to be completely honest, I don't know if the Mets are even going to make this move. I mean, I know, we were talking about this yesterday. If the Mets were even going to make that move, there's still yet to be unofficial. It's still unofficial. We really don't know exactly if Hutcherman is even going to be a Met. I know that we kind of discussed it yesterday on our live stream, but as of right now, nothing yet. So I could basically tell you we haven't heard really much of on him yet. All right, so let's go into some of the spring training news because if you guys have noticed in the last few days, the Mets have been doing a lot of things. They've been working a lot of things down here in spring so far right now. A lot of the protocols with our outfielders right now. We've been seeing a lot of Juan Soto being out in the outfield, kind of getting a little bit of some repetition out there. I think this year, I think the Mets are so focused on more on fielding and having the ability to field. And I think that also, it kind of comes a little bit with some hitting. And of course, obviously, the hitting is the main focus right now on this team. But I think also having the ability to play the field, which the Mets lacked in a lot last year, gave up way too many RBIs, gave up way too many hits. And we've been seeing a lot of the ground balls being hit down here so far in spring training drills. We've been seeing a lot of out of Polanco. Um, we've been seeing a lot of work with Bo Bichette a lot. So, I mean, we're kind of seeing a lot of guys that have been working on the field and having the ability to have better gameplay there. And you've been seeing a lot of our coaching down here working with a lot of these players right now. And also, pitching has also been the main focus, too. So we've been seeing a lot of our pitchers being on the mound, too. And we're going to discuss that as we go on through our live streams. So we're going to give you a little bit on some update on Francisco Alvarez. Now, uh, Carlos Mendoza did actually mention some news on Francisco Alvarez. I said Carlos Alvarez. I meant to say Francisco Alvarez. Uh, what have we heard so far out of Carlos? Well, he's saying that right now with Alvarez is a little bit fatigued right now. Um, Nothing to be alarmed about. He's kind of coming into a very slow transition. Um, I mean, I didn't really get to see that as much. He's slow coming off the bag a little bit. I mean, I have noticed that a little bit. Being on the mound, getting some, hitting abilities, kind of getting a little bit of hitting at bats too. He has been striking out for his last 26 pitch count. So he had a lot. He had a lot of pitches, a lot of ground balls that he has been looking at, which is good. Strike in the strike zone, he has been swinging on a lot of them right now. I mean, nothing too concerning. But I mean, right now it is still spring training, so it is. I rather have him get those kinks out now, and before the season starts. So he has been looking a little bit slow out of out of it. I mean, by looking at him with the bat wise, I mean, in the angle, in the way he has been holding the bat, looks like he. I think the hand still hurt. I think the hand is still bothering him a little bit too. I mean, I don't. I haven't heard anything through the manager saying that that's been a big, you know, difference. But I mean, he's just saying that he's kind of a little bit slow coming out of the gate right now. Out of Yankees, skipping second. Weaver a hit and miss. Um, I think right now with Luke Weaver, I'm gonna pull the elephant out of the room here. I think with Luke Weaver, he's not going to be a hit and miss right now. I do think that his control and his command on the mound, which I've seen today and the other day when I was down here, that his command is much better than expected from last year. I mean, we still haven't had any games yet. He looks a lot comfortable coming off on the rubber. Uh, his pitch sequencing right now is coming from the left side of the plate. So I mean, he did throw three simulated hitters. Uh, right now, they were like coming outside the strike zone and having that angle at least that 45-degree angle and at a 37 or a 36 angle. I mean, it's not yet to be projected. Uh, Again, I'm not going to take that for concern because we still haven't had game one yet. But I mean, as of right now, and kind of looking at that launch angle, kind of looking at where he is right now on the mound, I am seeing a little bit of adjustment too. He has been cut. Luke Weaver is more of the center of the rubber type of guy, but he has moved over a tad. So that to me, I find that it has been better coming from the right side of the rubber. So if he's able to change all of this, I do think he's going to be better this year and not giving up so many runs, not giving up so many walks. And right now, from the simulated hitting that he has pitched in yesterday and the day before, out of six batters, he has only given up two hits. So, I mean, that has looked really good coming from Weaver. I mean, it's not coming out of a 7 inning stretch or an 8 inning stretch, but I mean, he's going to do the work that he feels that he needs and get a little bit more repetition, getting a little bit more work on the mound. And that's kind of what they're doing with a lot of these pitchers early on. Do I think that he could definitely be an alternative closer? Absolutely. The only key factor that I'm going to be looking at with Luke Weaver in spring, probably not going to see a lot of him, but I mean. He's going to get a lot of work in maybe in the sixth, maybe in the seventh. Carlos Mendoza did mention that he could have situations where he could probably pitch in the sixth, probably pitched in the eighth. I mean, kind of going with the assessment of what Carlos Mendoza is really looking to get out of him is getting it deep and late into games. And, with him being that alternative with Devin Williams, which Devin Williams did pitch today, we saw him pitch off the rubber. If anybody was out here early in spring, has been very interesting. So, I mean, I do think that Devin Williams has been looking pretty decently so far. He's getting control of the ball, especially with the fastball. We're seeing a lot of the pitches coming outside of the pay on Devin Williams, And there's been a lot of work there also as well. So you're kind of seeing a lot of really good collaboration between Luke Weaver and Devin Williams. And they have been really working a lot so far this spring before game one. How do I feel about losing Alonso? I'm fine with it. I mean, the key here is that sometimes I understand that people kind of are so hell bent on Alonso. He's not here no more. So I have to move on. I have to understand that, granted, yes, he was one of my best power hitters. But you have to understand something too. You got you got Lindor, you got Polanco, you got Simeon, you got Bobichet, you got Juan Soto. Juan Soto is going to be the whole thing around the franchise right now. So Juan Soto is the Mets franchise. So what we need to do is work around this guy. And especially now that we got Bo Bichette here, you got Bo Bichette, Lindor, Soto. Those are going to be your three. And those are going to be your three guys that you need to rely on. Now, guys like going from a younger talent perspective with Beatty, Vientos, Carson Bench, kind of going a little bit on Polanco. I mean, even though he is a veteran, those are going to be your core guys that you also need to depend on too. And by going with younger talent in your fields, in your outfields, and you're going to have to at times need them too. So I really do think that the really good additions that we got here will fade away of the Alonso era that we had. And I mean, honestly, just sometimes you got to move on. We moved on from David Wright. Remember when we lost David Wright? We had to move on from him. So, I mean, has it been stable since David Wright? No, it hasn't been stable at third base since David Wright. But now that we have some good well, I don't want to say leader, but now that we have a good ability and a really good third baseman to finally be settled at that position, and that's Bo Bichette. And you got one of the best top hitters in the league in Bo Bichette next to Juan Soto. And I don't want to say that Lindor is on the top of the list. I do think Lindor is on the top of the list, but not as my number 5. So we do able to work with a lot of the newer talent and moving on with the future. So I definitely think that Alonso is just going to be a footnote in history. And when he comes to New York, we will, applaud him. We'll congratulate the work he's done with us, but he doesn't really appreciate it in the end of the day. So, I mean, I think what we did was smart. And I like the move that we have so far, and we'll yet to see and evaluate Polanco and Simeon, because Polanco is going to be here for 2 years. Same thing with Simeon. So I mean, you have to go with what we have right now here, and I'm moving on. Yes. So I think with losing out on Pete Alonso, Juan Soto is going to be your how can I put it? Your replacement of Juan Soto. Yes, absolutely. I mean, he's the power and the glue on this franchise, and I think also bringing in Bo Bichette, he's also your power too. I also feel Vientos could be our power. Brett Beatty could be our powder. These are guys that could hit. We're talking power coming from left side of plate, coming from the right side of plate. Now that we got a lot of lefties, so it brings really good advantage, not switch hitting wise, but advantage from the left side and from the right side. So, and then kind of bringing in the glue that we now have with the starting rotation and pitching, you know, I think the Mets have exactly what it takes to get into this playoff contending. So, evaluating on the latest new additions, I honestly believe that future is the key here. And if we lose, Pete Alonso is more than likely going to hit 40 home runs in Baltimore. Does it make a difference? It really is not going to make a difference here if in Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore's not going anywhere really. So I mean, he chased the money, and that's what happened. So I mean, does it does it make a big difference? No. But I do think that Steve Cohen knows exactly what he's doing, and I think it's smart for David Stearns, smart with Steve Cohen. They want to have the best out of this franchise, and I'm all gun ho for it. And I definitely think that Juan Soto is the key and the glue to this team because if he's not, I mean, I look at it this way: you know that Juan Soto has put up his numbers. He guaranteed it last year. So if he could continue to keep putting up the same numbers every year, then I think it would definitely be successful out of Juan Soto. So yeah, I'm all in favor for Juan Soto and to be the glue on this franchise. What do I think about Carson Bench? I think so far on what I've seen, him being in the outfield, him getting that ability to work out there, especially with the hitting that he has done today, MPP. I mean, he looks really good so far. The only key note that I'm going to be watching for in spring training is the power from the right side of plate. The left side of plate has no problems. He can hit those home runs. He can get those extra runs. He can get extra RBIs when you need them. The only key thing is that his power from the right side of plate. Could he give us extra RBIs? Could he give us extra home runs? Absolutely. But one thing that I'm going to be watching for is power coming out of Carson Bench. If he could get that power and have that good stability here, some guys are not ready-made Major League Baseball players right out the gate. He could probably be that second year. But I am definitely going to be evaluating him in so far in spring, and he looks decent. I don't think I feel that he hasn't been good, but I mean, once games start, then we could really talk about who's going to be good here. Yeah. So I mean, I definitely think that what we have seen will be fine coming out of Carson Bench. What have I seen with Kodai Senga? You think that Kodai Senga is going to be good in spring? Yes and no. The one thing that I've seen so far with Kodai Senga is that he looks a little discomfort coming off that mound. I saw it today. Uh, it looks like he has a little bit discomfort. I don't know. I mean, I know that Mendoza didn't really get any concern coming out of him, but he looked a little discomfort coming off on the rubber. I mean, still haven't really, looking at some of the pitches on what he's thrown with the fork, going with the fastball, kind of going with a little bit on the corner at the plate. He has been working a lot on that. He's been working a lot on his command and trying to keep a little bit more stability on the control on the fastball and a little bit more control on the off-speed pitch. He, I think in my opinion, evaluating on what I've seen, I think Kodak Senga is most concerning is with the hamstring because the hamstring last year was a big concern, especially from the injury early on. So That's what I'm going to be watching. It's spring. If that becomes an issue, if that becomes an issue, then I think that the Mets really need to reevaluate, Senga. But I mean, as long as that doesn't become an issue with him and he doesn't find any discomfort there with the hamstring, I definitely think he'll be fine. Are there any new signs? Well, the Mets did. Well, right now, nothing as of today. But the Mets did make a big. Well, the Mets made a minor league move yesterday, for an outfielder. It was, matter of fact. Hold on, let me see if I pull it up. So we had Nick. Well, no, it's not Nick Babito. Apparently, I lost it. Well, what do I think on Roberts? I think Roberts will be fine. Right now he was out there playing. He was working on the outfield a little bit. He was taking some BP hitting today. He looked all right there. I mean, so far everything looks good. I mean, do I think he's going to pull up better numbers? Kind of going into a different atmosphere, coming from the White Sox, going to the New York Mets. I mean, could we see better numbers coming out of him? Absolutely. I mean, kind of looking with the numbers that he did last year. I mean, last year he had 18 home runs. He had a batting average of 218. Could he have a better bounce back year? Absolutely. I think the problem here is that with Roberts, he didn't have good numbers coming from the left side of play. And I think that with a lot of the transitions that he has been working with so far here at spring, it looks like he's been doing a lot of footwork on the in the box. So he's kind of like working. You see it a little bit, and I think that the hitting coaching has been working on him a lot. Like you can hear, like literally hear them from like I'm like distance away from everybody. So like you kind of like hear them talking and chatting, and you kind of like see on what they're working with him. But I so far what I've seen looks good so far. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, with Marcus Simeon, Marcus Simeon's gonna play a lot there at second base. I haven't heard too much on shortstop. They're saying that Ronnie Mauricio will play a lot there at shortstop. They're saying at times Polanco might play there a little bit too. Kind of see a little bit of transitioning there. But I mean, Blanco was mainly a second baseman, so he'll probably transition a lot there at second too. So I think I know kind of everybody doesn't want to see the juggling all around, but I mean, I do think that right now the Mets are just kind of doing a little bit fielding and kind of getting everybody ready to go. What's my analysis on Tobias Myers? I mean, I think in my opinion of what I've seen him done down here right now. So he has been working a lot with Freddie Peralta from what I saw, and also with Jonah Tong. I seen too. He was also working with David Peterson, analyzing what he's done last year with. I mean, right now he's got last year you had 31 games pitched. You had a pitching of 315, probably very good numbers there. If he could lay off the slider, I think that he'll be all right. He's gonna be in the back a lot. You'll see him, at times in the sixth inning, but he'll definitely be in that bullpen. About the sunscreen. um, I mean, we'll hear a little bit more as the week goes on. I mean, we'll I'll like I said, I'll keep people updated. I'll keep you guys updated on players. What do I think on Brett Beatty? Brett Brady's probably gonna play a lot of third base, maybe. I mean, also outfielder too, because he's been taking the glove a lot in the outfield. He's been working with Soto, from what I know. I mean, there were times where he was out there with Juan Soto working, catching fly balls, getting a little bit deeper play out in the outfield. Soft tossing. Looks pretty good up there so far. So I mean, as of hitting wise, he was in the BP. He was hitting a little bit earlier today. Looks fine there too. So I think right now, with Brett Beatty, he'll be working a little bit on the outfield, working a little bit on third, and they're also trying to work with him at first. So they're saying it could be a possibility of him maybe transitioning sometime in spring right now to play a little bit of third base. I don't know. What do I think about AJ Minter? Right, I think AJ Minter, so far that I've seen, he has been, pitching off the rubber a lot. He not yesterday, the day before yesterday, he did a little bit off the rubber. He had a 1 inning session. I mean, he was throwing a little bit on the fastball, which I found that the command on the fastball wasn't really to par. The only problem that I saw with Minter, the command's just a little bit off. He had 2 hits, which was off of Brett Beatty, which was off of Mark Vientos. I mean, I'm not really worried some on that. Just getting a little bit more repetition, getting a little bit more work there on the mound. I think kind of going with him, I think he'll be just fine. So AJ Minter has been a little bit decent. I mean, I know a lot of people might think a little bit differently, but I think AJ's coming off on the injury, just gain a little bit of the swing of things. It looks like Jonah Tongue is getting a little bit better on off on the mound. Do you think he'll have a spring training matchup? To be totally honest with you, what I liked out of Jonah Tongue is just getting a little bit more seasoned. I don't think he's going to be up here. I really don't. I don't think he's going to be up at the majors in major league level right now. He's still young. He's probably going to get another year under his belt in AAA. But I mean, hey, you never know. He could be brought up sometime this year. So I mean, the way he's throwing off on the mound, the way he's transitioning. I mean, he looks really good in my opinion. But do I think he's major league ready? No. Yeah. So Luis Garcia. So Carlos Mendoza did talk a little bit on him today in the press briefing. He's looking really good right now. I saw him off on the mound. He pitched a little bit. I mean, the command, the control looks really good. Average wise, he's more than likely going to be your setup guy in the sixth and seventh. That's which Carlos Mendoza did mention earlier on today in the press meeting. I mean, I like what I see. The velocity, the spin rate, the way he's attacking, hitters on the mound, and he has been moving a little bit. So I mean, I like when a pitcher could readjust, and he's getting a little bit quicker off on the mound too. So we're seeing a lot of simulated pitching matchups. And again, this is just coming off of our guy. So right now, things looking really good. What do I think about the 2006 Mets season? I think it's going to be a lot better than everybody think it's going to be. I know a lot of people are going to be a little bit down on the Mets, and especially Dodger fans, especially other fans in the league. The one thing that I'm looking forward to in 2026 is our pitching. Our pitching was not very good last year. Was probably we were the 26th in the league in pitching. We had way too many pitchers up here last year as well. I'm focused on pitching. And I know with the new transition with Freddie Peralta, guys coming from the bullpen like Devin Williams, we're gonna hopefully we get to see Razabon get back into true form again. Justin Hageman, you're gonna see a lot of him. Christian Scott finally getting ready to come back, which pitched very well today. So I mean, if our pitching could pitch well, our hitting could hit well, because you got to remember something too. Last year we lacked in contact hitting. We didn't have that last year, and that's what caused us not to win ball games because of what we needed was contact hitting. We never had any clutch. Well, Pete did it once, a couple of times, not even. And we got clutch hitters. We got Polanco as a clutch hitter, and we got Marcus Semien as a clutch hitter. We got good power hitting now, coming from Bo Bichette, coming from Roberts. We know that Roberts has good power hitting, and especially coming out of with Francisco Lindor, good power hitting. So the Mets have a bucket load of good power hitters. They just need to utilize, those situations. And from what I'm evaluating and what I've seen so far, a little bit on some of the drills that the Mets are doing down here right now, seeing what Kyle Carrera is doing, seeing what Troy Snisker is doing, JP Arriquia, I mean, what he's been doing with these guys. I mean, right now, I think that, what the Mets have really been focusing on is getting that pitching, getting the hitting together. And if the Mets could take care of the bullpen and take care of that pitching, the Mets, I definitely given the Mets 94, 95 wins and more than likely getting into the playoffs because I do think that this is a playoff contending team. And David Stearns, didn't go out and get tons of sexy names, but he went out and actually got names. And, with Bo Bichette, Kyle Tucker wasn't, he was the guy that was on the Mets radar. I mean, not here, fine, but yeah, listen, I like the Bo Bichette move. I think we'll be fine with him. I like the Devin Williams move. I think Devin Williams will be fine too. So I understand we lost Diaz, and that was a big blow. But I mean, if Devin Williams could be in true form and get back to that action that he once was, I think hands down our bullpen could be really good. And again, sexy names might not be we don't get them, but it might be finessing the way we have been getting some of our players right now, under the radar type of guys. But got to remember something too. Under the radar type of guys could also bring you a championship, and that's what matters. And too, I from what I evaluated and from what I've seen, and the guys that are here now, I think that this team has exactly what it takes to be a winning contending team. And again, having Tobias Myers, I thought was a really good move in my opinion. Brain and Luke Weaver, definitely I found was a good move. And Devin Williams, we won't be able to evaluate them until the form of the season starts. And I'm not even going to go and evaluate a player even in spring because we know that these guys are going to get a little bit more work under their belt. But I mean, as of what I've seen and evaluating what I've seen so far down here in spring, I mean, is the key focused on bringing a franchise together. And, the Steve Cohen talked about we're not even going to have a leader on this team. I'm fine with that. As long as we got guys that can step up, as long as we got guys that could say, "Hey, let's go kick." The Mets got professional hitters. It was about time to say, "Okay, that's enough. That's enough now. We need to go and be serious and not be a clown show." And I think that's also, I think Steve Cohen really analyzed that enough, saying, I'm tired of, getting guys in here and, causing destruction here. The Mets needed to go out and get really good baseball players and non-drama baseball players. I think, having Alonso here, having a little bit of the toxic players that I feel that were toxic on this franchise are now finally gone. I know everybody kind of feels a little bit, with Francisco Lindor, but I really do think that right now the Mets will be just fine. And, kind of evaluated on what we have right now, I think this franchise will be fine. And you know what it is too? It's like the little players I feel that are gonna really matter the most. Like maybe Terrarins, maybe MJ Menendez, um, Nolan McLean. I think Tobias Myers could really be that, under the radar type of guy. Luis Garcia kind of coming off as a under the radar type of guy. Maybe even Nick Mabito, which I think was also a really good move too. So I think, kind of going with a lot of do, what the Mets do have could really be that breadwinner. And David Stern had done that in the past, with Milwaukee. And I know, no, this is not Milwaukee. We are in a big, we're in New York, and we're the epicenter of baseball. And it is the truth. We are the epicenter of baseball. All eyes do target the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, Chicago Cubs a little bit. Not so much Miami. But I mean, the Mets do have some really good players too. So yes, it is the focus, but I really do think that, coming from of what I've seen in the offseason, getting these moves, getting these guys, and building a farm system too. So, and I think to me, it was smart for the Mets to not give up so much of their farm system, which I think was also a big main focus too in the offseason. The Mets didn't really want to go hot and heavy on getting guys and being a little bit emotional on getting emotional of players. And I think that the Mets kind of, showed that, listen, we'll go out and make the smart moves, not go out and be a little bit over the top. And I think that's the mannerism of David Stern, the mannerism of Steve Cohen. And I mean, listen, if you don't do the job, David Stearns is going to let you go. So I do think that coming down to management, coming down to Carlos Mendoza to really, center the focus here it's gonna make the big difference here in 26. And plus, Mendoza, this is his last year in his contract, so he needs to prove something that he could at least get us to the playoffs. And if so, we'll give him an extension if we gets us there. So that's gonna be the deal here. So giving you a little bit of a roundup so far this spring and guys that I'm gonna look at. MJ Menendez. I'm definitely gonna look at a lot on Brett Beatty. I'm definitely gonna watch a little bit on Mark Vientos. And if we're really gonna be talking about comeback players of the year that need to step up, is gonna be Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos. These are going to be the two key guys that we are going to watch and monitor a lot this year. I mean, I think Mark Vientos is a very good hitter. I think coming off on that DH spot would be better for him as opposed to playing first base or playing any sort of position in that manner. I think if he could come off into that DH spot, I think that's what's going to really break him out. Break him out of his shell. He doesn't have to worry so much about playing the field because now we got guys that can play these positions. Uh, I want him to come off on that DH spot. So he's going to be the guy that I'm going to be watching out for. Mainly, it's spring. But if I'm going to go and watch anybody, it's spring when it comes to pitching. Devin Williams, Luke Weaver, Freddie Peralta, Nolan McLean, Kodai Senga. And those are going to be my guys. So we're going to take two more questions before we go live off air. First of all, I want to thank everybody for watching here on our show today, where we're breaking down all your latest Mets content. Now, to let everybody know, Game 1 is Saturday. It's at 1:10. It's at Clover Field. If you are looking to get Met live coverage, if you guys would like to come and watch my pregame show, I will be doing a live pregame show at 11:30. You could watch me talk about some of the players that we're going to watch out for. I'm going to go over the lineup cards. I'm going to talk about who's going to be in the lineup. We're going to talk a lot of players that I'm going to be looking out for, especially with pitching, also with hitting. I'm going to be breaking down all of the first game. It's going to be very interesting to see. It's exciting now. Finally, baseball is now back in the swing of things. But I mean, if you want to see the game too, if you're not at the stadium, you guys got to go and check MetsXMFanZone.com. It is your ultimate destination where the fans go. We give you free spring training upon sign up. So if you sign up to our membership, you can get all of my predictions of the game. You can get to watch my pregame show on there as well. We're going to take some full Q&A questions from all of our members throughout all of our platforms. We're going to take call-ins too. So that's going to be working. We'll have the lines getting ready to go live for those. And then we'll take some of your social media posts and stuff like that. And we will be breaking that down for game 1. So our pregame show will be at 11:30. And also, if you would like to see the full game, it will be on our website by going to MetsXMFanZone.com. So we have another question. This is from Melinda. And she wants to know, so what is my prediction for spring? What, again, the turnout. What's the turnout going to look like? Turnout, again, we need to focus on pitching. Pitching is what really hurt the Mets in 25. We need to focus on getting our pitchers healthy. We need to focus on getting our pitchers, going a little bit deeper into the game. Now, just so everybody knows, the ABS is in rule for spring. So we're going to see a lot of the automatic umpiring. It's spring. If you guys don't know what that is, we'll have we'll have the rules up on our social media platform. You guys could actually, take a look at that. The automatic umpiring is going to be within 2 challenges. One player could actually challenge a call. They have 60 seconds to make that call. I'm sorry, not 60 seconds. They have 20 seconds to make the call. And the umpire can even make the call too. They could wave it off. Waving the call off, meaning there will be no replay. Or if they go like this, that will be making the challenge. And also, the player, the hitter on the mound, the hitter at the box has to call it too. So they would have to call it, or the coach could call it. Either one of them have to make that call within 20 seconds of the play. Like, pretty much got to call it like right away. But you guys will see that being injected in spring. And then, I think that right now there's a lot of interpretation on what is going to happen. But as long as we got some baseball, we're all up in gear. I think spring is just a little bit of some work until the actual season gets ready to kick off. So we're gonna see a lot of hitters, a lot of pitching, a lot of bullpen moves. We're gonna definitely see Peralta. A lot of these guys, like all the main stars, from what I'm hearing, is we're gonna see Freddie Peralta once live on TV, and you're gonna see once on TV Nolan McLean. So from what I hear, and we're gonna hear either one of those two. Even though Nolan McLean will be in the World Baseball Classic, if it gets pulled out, we'll know a little bit more when that comes to. So, want to thank you guys for watching. We are going to end our live stream. Now, if you guys want to know some of the info on how to get the games, or if you want to check out our membership, you guys can do that by going into our show notes, where you can see all the lives. You can see all of our pregame shows here on our social media platforms. If you guys enjoyed the content for today's show, you guys can share, like, subscribe. Because every time we go live, we want to make sure that we give you guys enough content, keep you guys updated with all your latest Mets news, and also break down all the analytics, perspective, give you guys projections, and we're going to give you guys Mets throughout the whole entire season. So, I'm Anthony. I was a ghostwriter for MLB and also for Mets.com. And if you guys enjoyed it, please share, like, subscribe, tap on your screen. And to make this channel grow, it makes a big difference if you share, like, and follow. I want to thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in another edition of the Mets XM Fan Zone.